counts down. I love that guy from South.
It's live. You're live. You're live.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion. Delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots. You know the actions you can take, how your family, your business can benefit from current events most of all. Thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Jim Norton's in the house. Welcome.
Thank you.
Glad to have you with us.
I know you tried to get Taylor Swift, but
hey, you know something? Well, something helps ratings, I guess.
yeah.
Look what's happening to Kersey. I mean, his
Kelsey.
He added 900,000 followers on Instagram.
Did he really?
Now he went from a low-level jersey sales to now he's in the top 5. So.
Yeah, but did you see the back of the last night? They showed the back of one of them with Swifty on it. It was kind of like, okay, I'm not sure who's dragging who along here.
Yeah, we know who's dragging who. It's he's being dragged by the nose. We know that.
Although the Jets look good, I gotta say for bouncing back.
You know? Yeah, well,
but that's football.
Football.
We got to talk real estate.
Hey, let me remind you, if you ever have any more finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you, and you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan, a plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, we are celebrating today. Let's see, what do we have? Oh, National Fried Scallops Day. I like scallops. I'll have to tell the bride we got to go for scallops today. I don't. Yeah, you like scallops?
Had a bad scallop time.
Oh,
never been back.
I guess that'll wake you up.
Yeah, it did.
In honor of my father-in-law, I will say, or in memory, today's National Produce Day, Produce Misting Day. Okay, so you missed Smarties Day.
Nice.
I haven't had Smarties in a long time. I
guess being it's Halloween.
Those candy corns. That's the one that gets me in trouble.
That's a good one.
Of course, a lot of them get me in trouble. Okay, let's move right along. Is that all? I think that's all we have to celebrate today. Okay, let's see what the markets are doing. Dow Jones Industrial Average down 203 points. Ow! S&P 500 is down 17. The Nasdaq's down 38. Oil down $1.42 a barrel. 10-year treasuries. That's going to be an interesting one. So the 10-year treasury's up about 11 ticks right now. 4.698. Not good. But so you think about that. 4.7 is the yield on a 10-year treasury. That's a pretty good yield right there. Now, here's the thing that we're going to be watching because it may happen sooner than you think. When does it become a good buy? Now, how do you make money on treasuries? Well, you look at the yield, which is at 4.7 right now, and you have to pay for the bond. Now, you don't pay yield, you pay the price of the bond. When the bond price goes down, the yield goes up. When the yield goes down, the price of the bond goes up. So you can make money either way. You can make money on the yield, you can make money on the bond. At what point does the bond become a good buy? And when the bond becomes a good buy and money starts flowing into the 10-year Treasury bond, the price of the bond, because people want to make money on that bond, the yield starts coming down. So it works well that way. So I'm just throwing that out there for you. That'll be something we'll be watching. Speaking of watching, you got to love this one. 41% of the people in France, I know it's France. 41% of the people in France want to limit the flights, 4 flights during your entire lifetime. 4 flights during your entire lifetime. Climate change. Of course it would be that one. Could you imagine that? I mean, okay, Jim, you've met your goal on flights. Take a train now. From the rest of your life, you're taking a train.
You take a boat to Hawaii.
Yeah, and a boat to, well, I was going to say, not going to take a train to Hawaii.
Now, what does the boat produce in terms of carbon?
What does a train produce?
7 days,
Right? The whole idea, all of these things, they just don't make any sense.
Never can find those answers.
But then again, that was a poll in France. Of course, it sounds almost like the United Auto Workers, right? I mean, they're saying France doesn't want to work very often. United Auto Workers want to get paid for 5 days and work 4. I'd like that. That'd be kind of nice. Let's move right along. I got a workshop for you today, and then my friend Jim Norton and I are going to chat about this during the broadcast. But the workshop today, why is it that builders are able to control their prices, yet when we try and sell a home, when we're doing a resale of a home, we tend to reduce price, not controlling the price? So we're going to talk about that today, and I'm going to just give you a little foundation right here, because this is Ron Siegel Radio, and I want you to understand that there are alternatives. So let's look at this. I've got a picture here that's going to show you. It's a hypothetical, so I don't want you to get all excited about any specific number on here. The concept works on every number. Now, I will share with you that because of the software, it gives us an overstated APR. But what is the APR good for? Compliance. So what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about actual interest rates, but I will give you the APR because of compliance. So let's say we've got a property that's listed for $1 million. 37% as of last week. I haven't seen this week's numbers yet. 37% of the properties are requiring a price reduction or taking a price reduction before they sell. So why would they do a price reduction? Well, it's because the vast majority of real estate agents don't understand what builders understand. There's other ways to make this work and keep the pricing steady. So we've got this $1 million property. We're going to make an assumption of a 20% down payment and an interest rate last week. It's not this week. Don't worry about the rate again. 7.875. APR is 8.113. Again, that's for the compliance people. Payment amount, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, $7,008.90. $224,588 to close. Now, what does a typical real estate professional do? If the property hasn't sold, they start saying, well, let's reduce the price. So the price reductions generally range between 3 and 5%. I used 5 because it's easy math, and I'm a simple guy. $50,000 price cut, $950,000. Loan amount, $760,000. Kept the interest rate the same, 7.875, and we've got an APR of 8.118. The payment dropped by $350. Okay, that might help some people. $66.58.45. Okay, now, what would a builder do? Well, builders understand that it's important for them to keep the price the same. So what do they work on? They deal with concessions. They work on the idea of how do we get more people to be able to afford the property. They look at a $50,000 concession, bring the price back up to $1 million. Loan amount $800,000, but bring the interest rate down to 6.5%. I know it sounds high right now, but 6.5%. Look, it's almost 1.5 points below what the market is on the full price. Okay, let's keep on going. That brings the payment down to $6,264.88, $744.02 savings every single month for 30 years. Now, do you think a 10% savings on the payment is going to have more effect than that $50,000 price cut? Of course it does. So that's what builders do. They just control these things by looking at that payment amount. Now, when we get this all together and I share with you the actual link of where you can go and see this, I'm going to tell you what a $50,000 with that $744 savings works out to in a price reduction. It'll probably be the equivalent of about $100,000, maybe $150,000 in price reduction. Do you want to make a $150,000 price reduction on your property? Of course not. I'm suggesting don't even reduce the price of the property at all. But then you say, well, Ron, what happens if we don't appraise? Well, you got a problem. Unless you're talking to Ron Siegel Radio and our team. Because we've got an appraisal gap issue here. We can deal with an appraisal gap. What if it doesn't appraise at $105,000 below that, or $105,000? Keep the price, keep the loan amount the same, keep the interest rate the same, so the payment stays the same. All we're dealing with is the loan to value amount, and we understand how to do that. So the bottom line here is, if you've got a house that you're selling, get your realtor to call our team. We'll help them with it. Because, by the way, if they don't do this the right way, it will trigger high cost and predatory lending violations. We don't want that for you. But we understand how to do it the same way the lenders do, or the builders do. Give us a call. Get us involved early. We'll show you how to do it as well. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, we're going to talk to a builder about it, who's also a realtor, so he understands these things. Unpacking the long-term benefits of home ownership and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis, rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
Are you paying rent because you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you paying rent because you don't believe you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? At Siegel Lending Team at ronismylender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel Lending Team today at ronismylender.com. Again, ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037. ronismylender.com.
Homeowners over the age of 62 are taking back financial control after retirement with reverse mortgages, and the Siegel Lending Team is here to help you use it to your advantage. Call Ron Siegel with Geneva Financial to receive your free information booklet with no obligation. The booklet answers all your questions, and the best part is you still own your home. Call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990 or visit ronsiegelradio.com.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio. Or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And every day at this time, OBMMI. They provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates. We do not know APR, points paid, points received. They only report locked rates with 42% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. 30-year conforming loans down a little bit, 7.405. This was Friday. 30-year jumbo loans up a touch, 7.597. 30-year FHA loans down a little bit, 7.177. 30-year USDA loans, that's the rural areas, generally no down payment. That was down quite a bit, 7.062. And 30-year VA loans, that's the best loan on the market for those that earned it. That was down a bit, 6.999. If you want our market commentary on what's going on in the mortgage world, every morning as early as we can, we get this out to our email audience, our subscribers, rsrmarketminute.com, rsrmarketminute.com. All you have to do is go there, subscribe. It's free, no cost to you. Send that out each morning as early as we can get that done. So what's going on right now in the markets? Let's take a look at it. Well, we're going to look first at the S&P 500, down 17.81. 10-year Treasury is up 12 basis points, 4.69 again. Mortgage-backed securities are down 51 basis points. Ow! That means interest rates are up. Not a pleasant thought because they continue to move up. That's why I said in the opening segment, if you didn't catch that don't worry about what the rates that I was talking about. It's the concept that you need to understand so we can get that out to you. ISM Manufacturing Index measures the health of the manufacturing sector in the U.S. Came at 49 for the month of September, which was above expectations of 47.8. The index remains below 50, marking the 11th consecutive month of contraction. So don't worry about the number. It's an index. 50 means it's a balanced market. Anything below 50 is contraction. Market is shrinking. Anything above 50 means the market is growing. And yes, the market is shrinking. So once again, Realtor.com giving out partial information, not false information, but partial information, which can be misleading. So they wrote in their article that prices are falling for the most areas. They forgot to say that the median home price is falling, not the price of your property, your street. So just remember that almost every single area that we're watching, according to Case-Shiller and FHFA and all the other people that monitor these, actual values of properties are going up. But the mix of properties, median price, is not. So a couple examples that they're showing: Phoenix and Las Vegas fell 1.2 and 2.7% respectively. In reality, in homes in those markets, while down on a year-over-year basis, have been rising the last 4 months in a row. In fact, homes in those markets are rising at a faster pace than many of the others because they were some of the hardest hit as far as declines in the second half of 2022. Don't let the media scare you. That's all they do. It's called clickbait. They make money when you click on something because an advertisement pops up on the side. So that's the issue there. David Rosenberg, another one of those folks that we follow as far as forecasters, feels that the yields on interest will fall in the coming year and reference the long historical relationship between 10-year yields and GDI. That's gross domestic income. GDI has been falling sharply on a year-over-year basis, now down 3.7% in the second quarter, but the 10-year is around 94 basis points above that, and over time, they always come together. He feels that the yields will narrow that gap and fall in the next 12 months. And remember, so that would be the GDI, the 10-year Treasury tracks the GDI, and mortgage-backed securities tracks the 10-year Treasury, and we already have a double spread on the mortgage-backed securities. So mortgage-backed securities generally have about a 1.75 spread to the 10-year Treasury, and right now we're at about a 3% spread. So those will come together, hopefully bringing the mortgage-backed securities down, which means home loan rates will drop. Apartment List National Rent Report showed that rents decreased 0.5% in September, are now down 1.2% year over year. Keep in mind that these are only new leases. When including renewals, blended rates including renewals are up 3.1% according to CoreLogic, but this will lead to lower blended rates. The negative monthly number shows that there is not a risk of rental inflation pushing up overall inflation. So that's a good news right there. Going to get the JOLTS report tomorrow, job openings and labor transition. ADP comes out on Wednesday, initial jobless claims on Thursday, and the big BLS jobs report comes out on Friday. Lots of market-moving news coming out. That's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Let's chat with our buddy Jim Norton, Realty Pro 100. And Jim, you are or were a builder?
I'd say were.
Were, okay. So you understand the discussion I had in the opening block about how builders really use pricing. They have to keep their projects going, especially when you're going from phase 1 to phase 2 to phase 3.
Right.
You don't want to be showing that properties aren't selling at the prices you priced them at.
Correct. Yeah, you're doing damage to, if you lower your prices, you're doing damage to phase 1, and you're doing damage to resales depending on how long or how big the project is.
So before we get into that, during the break you're sharing, sometimes these projects, they don't happen, you don't build, it's not like you start today and they're done tomorrow. It's not like a 30-minute TV show.
Correct.
It takes a little longer than that.
Well, as we said, the pro forma for these, I mean, if you purchased
pro forma, you're getting into fancy words.
No,
now.
not really, but
projection, if
you want to use that term. But basically, the builder's buying, let's say they buy 50 lots today. Those 50 lots won't be delivered for anywhere from
delivered 12 means completely built out
for sale.
They won't be for
sale.
Be
for sale for 12 to 24 months, depending on what entitlements are there. That is a complex conversation itself. But let's just say the standard by the time you get your permits and by the time you get your whatever approvals are necessary and you're ready to build, then you've got another 180 days. If you can build under that structure, that's basically another 6 months. So let's just say the quickest probably you could come up to something would be 12 months.
So you got to do a lot of forecasting.
You're looking at forecasting for 12 months from now. Now, the difference as the builder, it sounds different, but it really isn't. The difference is the builder's got a marketing study. The builder's got boots on the ground out there looking at houses and looking at common comparables. And this is what your agent can be doing too.
or
I mean,
should be
it's-
doing.
should be doing true. And so at the same time, you have a shorter window, but the builder's got a longer window. But that's why the builder's got is thinking about things. You're as a builder, you're always playing scenarios. You're always making
So
scenarios.
how many
to what
projects does a
happens.
builder have going at a time?
As many as they can handle. I mean, Lennar, thousands. That's a public builder. I think they're the largest builder in the United
So
States.
you got
now.
Lennar and you got DR Horton and some
D.R.
of the big
Horton
guys out
and
there.
So they're all they've got multiple states.
So one of the things I'm want to get to is when I go to sell my house or you go to sell your house, we're selling one house.
Right.
And we're doing that depending upon which study we look at, 9 to 13 years.
Yeah.
Builders are doing that every day, all day.
All day.
They never stop because that's their business. It's kind of like going to a gas station, right? They don't sell a tank full of gas every 9 to 13 years.
Right.
They're selling tanks of gas all day, every day.
Right.
So
every 13 minutes.
yeah. So what I'm getting at is they're keeping on track of every kind of strategy that comes out. And when I talk about strategies on Ron Siegel Radio, it's not like there's something new. It's that I mastermind with people all over the country that are doing lots and lots of different strategies all the time. This just happens to be one that the builders are using, and they might almost frequently builders give concessions.
Correct. Yeah.
So that could be. Well, you talk about it. What are the different kinds of concessions a builder could use?
Well, you could start with simple things like flooring.
Okay.
That's probably the most simplified version. You can builder upgrades depending on the stage of the construction. You could
So
add.
you can go from Coleman to actually having walls.
No, you could change the tile. You could change the lighting. You could change the fixtures. You could add bonuses. You could add solar. Maybe it's already in the project. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? They're most large.
So it's kind of like a car.
Yes.
Right. So you've got the stripped down version of the Camry.
Right.
And then you've got 4 or 5 or 6 different versions with different accessories that make it a nicer product or more desirable.
Right. And don't forget, nowadays in California, you could add the ADU while you're under construction.
Okay.
It was the
additional dwelling unit.
Additional dwelling unit. You could add that while you're under construction. It was always cheaper to at the time was cheaper to add a pool house or casita, whatever you want to call it. Now it's transformed itself into what is called the ADU and the additional accessory. So if you're going to have mom and dad live with you, you could build the 2-bedroom in the back. A lot of builders are already including that. They are offering it as an option.
So if you go and do these add-ons, generally are add-ons generally more expensive than the initial build? You know, if I did a build, is it a bigger profit center? Is there a bigger margin on add-ons than the initial building
for
the builder?
For a private person, or
so
for the builder, the add-on is just additional work. And it's probably not, I wouldn't say it's a large profit center, but it might be what it takes to get that deal done on that particular.
So it's not like when I go to a contractor and he gives me a bid to put a pool in, and then I say, well, I want to change this. And he says, that's going to cost you a lot of money.
Right. Well, it's going to cost you money. I mean, there's no question. But what the difference is going to be is how quickly could you have closed on that million? Let's say the house is $1 million. You used that earlier, right?
Let's use that when we come back. We're going to talk dollars and cents when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. Dollars and cents. Don't reduce the price of your property as the first step if you really want to sell it. Unpacking the long-term benefits of home ownership, all that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Hey there, friends. Wondering if now is the right time to buy a home? Or are you waiting for a bunch of foreclosures? The facts speak loud and clear. Defaults and foreclosures are down. Sure, we might be headed towards a recession. But did you know interest rates typically drop and real estate values often go up during a recession? So what are you waiting for? Higher prices or higher payments? Don't navigate these waters alone. Connect with RonSiegelRadio.com today. That's RonSiegelRadio.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio. Or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Great tool for you, and it's no cost to you. Monitor your credit scores, bank accounts, asset accounts. And yes, you can see the value of your property. 4 sources right on there. 3 good ones. We include Zillow as well, just in case you want that one. You can also see 97% of the properties available for sale are listed right there. rsrmoney.com, unpacking the long-term benefits of home ownership. If you're thinking about buying a home soon, higher mortgage rates, rising home prices, and ongoing affordability concerns may make you wonder if it still makes sense to buy a home right now. While those market factors are important, there's more to consider. You should think about the long-term benefits of home ownership too. Think about this. If you know people who bought a home 5, 10, even 30 years ago, you're probably going to have a hard time finding someone who regrets their decision. Why? The reason is tied to how home values grow with time and how by extension that grows your own wealth. That may be why in a recent Fannie Mae survey, 76% of respondents say they believe buying a home is a safe investment. Here's a look at how just the home price appreciation piece can really add up over the years. Home price growth over time. If you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, any of our socials, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 video feed, you're actually going to see a chart that shows the percentage change in home prices over 5 years going up to the second quarter of 2023. The Pacific, that's us, 49.3% is the price change over 5 years. Wow. If you look at the price change in home prices, you can see home prices grew on average by just over 57% nationwide. So we were actually below the norm on a national basis. Generally, we lead. Some regions are slightly above or below that average, but overall, home prices gained solid ground in a short time. And if you expand that time frame even more, the benefits of home ownership and the drastic gain homeowners made over the years become even clearer. Percentage of change since the first quarter of 1991, Pacific region, 342.5%, national 297.7. So you can see home ownership has some financial benefits. The nationwide average tells you the typical homeowner who bought a house 30 years ago saw their home almost triple in value over that time. Key factor in why so many homeowners who bought their homes years ago are still happy with their decision. And while you may have heard talk throughout the year that home prices would crash, it has not happened. In fact, experts project home prices will continue to rise for years to come. Bottom line, if you're wondering if it still makes sense to buy a home today, it's important to focus on the long-term advantages that come with home ownership. When you're ready, give me a call, 800-306-1990. No, I do not sell real estate. I have a license. I'm not qualified to sell it. And there's a lot of people that have licenses that are not qualified to sell. I lead a lending team. We do what we do very well. We don't sell houses, but we can introduce people. So, Jeff Sal, Ron, you're 100% correct. I have made a lot of money on the equity of my house than if I had money in the bank. Rental and Airbnb are the way to go for generational. Well, yeah, you're right. Rental and Airbnb. I don't know about the Airbnbs just because so many areas are starting to fight them, but rental as a whole, great way of going about it. That's the real-time real estate segment brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Continue our conversation with Jim Norton, Realty Pro 100. Realtor today, builder historically. So we've been talking about in the opening segment, I spoke about not reducing the price as your first option. And there's a lot of real estate people that don't understand that concept. And Jim and I have been chatting because he was a builder, still understands. He didn't have amnesia or anything, so you still understand all that building
No,
stuff.
I still understand.
It's not quite that old.
There's
We don't
still a
call
lot
him
of
Joe.
conversations.
We call him Jim, not Joe.
Yeah.
So in that opening segment, we were talking about that $1 million property and using a $50,000 price concession instead of price drop. Now I'm gonna throw another thing at you. Generally, it's a 3-to-1 ratio. So if you were thinking about doing a $50,000 drop using the exact same money as a price reduction, then that's how we came up with that chart that we showed in the opening segment. But if you wanted to make your price reduction equal the $50,000, the payment on that $50,000, that would be the same as a $150,000 price drop.
Right.
Anybody thinking about going from $1 million to $850,000?
Oh, you're
not by choice.
Your client and your builder client would fire you. I mean, they would not even tolerate such a conversation. I mean, could you imagine going to the kitchen table and telling somebody we're going to take a $150,000 cut rather than maybe a 3% cut? But could you imagine going to them and saying, "Hey, look, we're still going to stay at $1 million, but here's what we're going to offer, and this is we're going to educate the agents bringing buyers to us. We're going to offer this." I mean, when you go to look at a car, do you negotiate the price of the car, or are you thinking about the payment of the car? You're thinking about the payment of the car, and the people buying.
Can I afford it?
Exactly.
I'm not writing a check for $1 million.
Right.
I'm writing a check for, I forgot what we said in that opening.
7,000 to
6,200 or something like that,
and down to 6,200 on the concessions.
Now I'm gonna have to find it so I make sure we say the right numbers.
But as you asked earlier, you asked about the builders. The builders are thinking more about financing all the time. That's why a lot of them own financing companies so that they can offer these programs. Like you said, Geneva offers programs, multiple programs. These are the kind of programs that sellers out there should be thinking about. And if their realtor is not bringing them these programs, then they need to reconsider what their criteria.
So let's just think about, I'm going to take, I'm going to do 10% of the prices I used before.
Okay.
Just because, most people can relate to this because the example you brought up of the car.
Mm-hmm.
So you walk into the dealership and they say, well, it's going to cost you $700 a month for this car.
Right. But we have a Labor Day sale going.
We have a Labor Day sale and you can get it for $625 a month.
Yeah. You're
right?
You're going to be more prompted to buy a car all of a sudden.
Sure.
Because it's
$75 cheaper?
Yeah, per month.
Per month.
That's a lot of money.
Every month.
Yeah.
Right. So now we go back to the house. It was $1 million house, $7,000 a month versus $6,264 a month.
And
right. There's some.
Now the price of the house isn't the concern.
Right.
Because you have changed it to say, hey, look, I've got $1 million home. It's going to, we're going to probably get 3%. And I say probably because that's the average, but you get your 3% appreciation. But at the same time, now I'm paying $6,200.
Well, we did that last week, Jim, and I did that with somebody that was buying. They're paying more than the asking price. And one of the things we looked at on that one was in that exact area. So it was a $790,000. I think we rounded it to $800,000 house in Whittier.
Mm-hmm.
And when we went up to $850 to make sure we got the deal, or $830, something like that.
Right.
We found out that based on that area and their forecasted as well as historic appreciation, it was 7 months to get to, even though you're paying more than the asking price, your value would be, it takes 7 months to get that value.
Yeah.
So you're basically saying, I win the bid, right? And you can look at the whole thing, rsrstrategy.com, rsrstrategy.com. We have the whole thing still out there right there. Where you can go look at it, rsrstrategy.com. 7 months is not a big deal.
No.
Right? When you're talking about 9 to 13 year hold time on your house.
But again, that's not something, as a home buyer, you want to look at your home budget and you want to look at how that fits into your home budget. Well,
right now you've got two different issues. Absolutely, you're right about the budget.
Okay.
But the second part is, how many offers does it take for you to get a property that you want? Right? Because there's still a shortage of inventory out
There's
there.
shortage. There's no question. There's a shortage. We are definitely driven right now by supply and demand, but at the same time, we're running. The constraints are solving the problems that get to the for demand to acquire the property, which again comes down to financing. Interest rates have always been the key to home ownership.
Sure.
And the lower the interest rate, the easier it is to get a home. The higher the interest rate, the harder it's to get a home. And that's why you're always looking at your loan. You shouldn't just, you might be able to set it for a year, but anything past that, you're not looking at it. You need to be looking at your loan and see about refi. You got to, what strategy.
Which we're going to come out with a rapid refi program in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah.
And mainly the reason we're looking at a rapid refi program is we know that interest rates are going to be dropping.
Mhm.
So how often do you think people are really watching their mortgage?
I don't think overall,
Not enough.
I don't think they're not even watching it probably.
Right. So our rapid refi program is basically going to say, we'll watch it for you. And if it hits a point where you can save 10% and 3 years on your mortgage,
right,
that should be a target to refi.
What that really is good for, it's bad for the banks on the HELOC, which is the what traditionally we call the second. That people usually use the second to get, let's say they want to redo the air conditioning and the roof. And now if you have a rapid refi and you get a couple of drops, you could use that product instead and have your payments go out. Some of them are adjustable too.
Sure.
You can do 20-year, 25-year, or you can adjust your amount. And so you can still take money out, get those high maintenance number items done, and then still be back into a good lower payment. So people need to, it's not you go and refi your house so you can pull $100,000 and take a great trip to Europe. You're maintaining the investment. When you bought
enhancing it.
When you are enhancing it, absolutely.
Which I went and looked at a property over the weekend, Yorba, California. It's not on the market. It just recently sold at an auction or probate or something. I don't know exactly.
Okay.
But if you look at the property on Redfin, it's worth $1.74 million. And the property sold at 1.2. It's because people didn't take care of it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Now that's not good or bad. It's just because the person, I think, probably lived in it for 30 years and they were happy with it until the day they passed.
Yeah.
Now the piper's got to be paid.
Right.
We're going to continue our conversation with Jim Norton, solving problems today. We've talked about not reducing the price of your listing if you're trying to sell your house. Got a strategy to get the house you want, pay off some debts, improve the property, all that and more. We've been talking to Jim Norton, Realty Pro 100. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. We'll be back to you.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
79% of all credit reports have errors that should be corrected through factual disputing. You could be saving thousands every year if your report was accurate. CreditSanitizer.com provides a free credit report audit when you furnish a specific $1 credit report. You can use this information to request corrections to your report and potentially save thousands of dollars. Get your free credit audit at CreditSanitizer.com. That's CreditSanitizer.com for a free credit report audit. CreditSanitizer.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. In every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio. Or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Borrow Smart segment, we're not going to do it. I'm just going to tell you. Student loan payments started yesterday. They're required again. Borrow Smart, brought to you by RSRStudentLoanHelp.com. RSRStudentLoanHelp.com. If you've got student loans and you have not gone to rsrstudentloanhelp.com. Spent about 30 seconds to see if there is a federal law already in place. It's not the stuff that the president and Congress have been thinking about, talking about, or going to court about. This is stuff that's already cleared the Congress, signed by presidents into law. rsrstudentloanhelp.com, rsrstudentloanhelp.com. Continuing our conversation, Jim Norton, Realty Pro 100, is with us this morning. Comes in and we just chat. I mean, Jim walks in here and kind of funny if you've ever been in the studio with us. What are we going to talk about today? I don't know. We'll figure it out, and then I throw it at him as we're talking.
Well, you let off with a great item on the refinancing and what the builders are doing, and the question really is, why isn't the average seller taking advantage of these programs that are out there so that they can make their transaction happen? Because you got to remember, for every seller, we're going to have a new buyer.
Sure.
Whether they're buying in California, or they're buying in Texas, or they're moving out of state, or whatever, they're downsizing. They're still
right sizing, you say, Jim. Right sizing.
Excuse me.
When you're old like me, so you're not downsizing, you're right sizing.
I want to downsize.
Well, that might be right for you.
Cut out a couple of rooms to clean, vacuum and other chores and all that.
Well, I right sized a couple of years ago, and I was trying. My wife wouldn't let me. I was trying, just to move and not give forwarding notices to my kids, but that didn't work.
they find
they still find us.
Yeah, they can find you no matter what. But
grandson could find us. I don't know about the rest of them.
But I think we have to remember, just by nature, this environment of 7%, let's say floating between 7 and 8% interest rates, that environment isn't going to correct itself back down to 4 in a heartbeat. So we're going to be up at 7 and 8 for a while.
So you're in your second century of doing this, right?
Exactly.
Okay. And how many times have you seen 3% interest rates? Twice?
Once. No, seriously.
Okay. I saw them in 2008, and then we saw them in 2023 or 2009.
Did we see them in 2000? But
they got down there.
You couldn't get to it. That's what I was trying to remember. Well, did we get them in 2009? But the bottom line, market was broken, so we couldn't.
That's my point.
Yeah, the market was completely broken,
and it was right after the pandemic, also.
Right, and then we also.
So the two times that we've actually had it
didn't last very long.
Right. So the two times that we've had that, if either once or twice, depending, I don't know, maybe it didn't get down to 3, but in that area.
But we
the
didn't
twice that it's happened. It's always because there's been a serious problem in our economy.
Yes.
We really don't want that.
That's right. So
that's my point. We don't want that.
Yeah, your ability. I mean, you're worried about your job. Right now we have a lot of jobs.
Right.
And so
we'll find out how many tomorrow.
But we do know this. Nothing goes down fast. Everything goes up fast.
Right.
So I mean, that's
it's an elevator up,
elevator
and
up,
a staircase, a spiral staircase down, right? Because it doesn't go quick.
Right. So with that in mind, you have to start thinking in terms of if you're thinking of selling here in the next 1 to 2 years, you need to be strategizing under this environment.
Right.
And then after that, maybe it'll change. I mean, that's why, again, the builders are watching this every day, and they're keeping an eye out so they can adjust their market, their purchases. I remember in 2004, everything was going up at a rapid. I mean, I think we were going up the ski slope, wouldn't you say?
Sure.
And I remember getting calls from brokers to purchase lots. And I look at it and I said, well, wait a minute, this is way overpriced. I said, you've taken my profit out. And he says, oh, no, you'll make it up on the back end. And I said, gee willikers, so let me pay more up front. I mean, did anybody miss this, buy low, sell high? Everybody miss that?
Yeah.
Well, builders are not, they're not thinking, oh, I'll buy high and I'll sell low. Or I'll buy high and I'll sell higher. They're not thinking that way. They're thinking, hey, look, I'll buy at market rate and then I'll see if I can adjust it. And what are my flexibilities?
Sure. They're not looking to be stupid. Right. Because they're spending a lot of money and they know what they're doing. Right. Don't count on them being ignorant.
Right. They didn't get Lennar didn't get as big as is being
by overpaying.
Exactly.
Right. They wait until the market is right for them to buy. Then they buy it and put raw land in inventory.
Right.
And then when the time is right, which that may not be the right time, then they start building because they can maximize their return.
As a seller, you may not have that comfort or that
That luxury.
that
You
luxury.
got to take action when you need to.
And as we've said before, the 6Ds, come into play. Something can trigger something.
Sure.
And you might have to move or anything. But you do have the luxury of dealing in today's numbers.
Right.
They're dealing in numbers that are 2 years ago at estimate.
Yeah, they have to forecast,
Right,
and then adjust.
Right.
And we're just doing that right now. But we can still use the exact same strategies that the builders are doing if you understand them. If you don't understand them, give us a call at 800-306-1990, and we'd be happy to educate you on that. If you and the same thing, watching the billboards and the commercials about where interest rates are. It's not legitimate. They're going to be there, in 2005-06, there was a company out called Dytech.
Oh my God.
They had
Sorry,
the cheapest prices of all the interest rates, but you had to have perfect credit and you had to have 40% equity. Nobody had that, or a small percentage did, and that's who they made their money on. Everybody thought that was the real interest rates.
Yeah.
So if you give us a call and get involved in our rapid refi program, we've got systems, tools, techniques to watch that for you. So when it does make sense, you do hit that target of 10% payment reduction and 3 years time reduction. Our system is already set up to call you and handle that for you. You don't have to think about it because you've already done everything for it ahead of time. If you want more information, and as always, we ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Big thanks to Josh and Sean for engineering us today. And, of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990 at ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.